Good morning, YouTube. John back here with B&B Auto. We're going to continue working on our 2004 Ford Escape with the 3.0. Yesterday we got the heads all taken care of. Got them, well, not taken care of, we got them out. We've got heads out, we've got the timing off, we've got kind of a mess going on here. So I'm going to start the day by I'm going to take off these exhaust manifolds so I can replace the gaskets on there. I've got new bolts, new hardware for those. So we're going to take a look, work at that. Looks like this engine has seen some previous repairs. We've got some welding on the catalytic converter down here. So probably going to pressurize this a little bit and see if those are holding up or see if it's got an exhaust leak there. But Andy's a little bit late, but we're going to get into it. Take a quick look around here. We've got this head all cleaned up. There's the exhaust manifold, or where the exhaust manifold goes. Got that cleaned up as best as possible. New studs in there. Timing cover side cleaned up. Intake all cleaned up. I don't want to tip this over. I've got the lash adjusters in there, so we'll take a quick look around there. Got that all polished up. Used a red Scotch-Brite pad and a white buffing drill attachment to polish it up. Get that all cleaned up and prepped. Andy's still not here. He was gonna clean up when we get there. So now I'm moving on to this head. Just pulled off this exhaust manifold. All the studs came out all right. The other one was missing a stud and had a regular bolt in one of the holes. So That was kind of annoying to take care of. Had to clean out the threads for the one, but got them all in there. This one obviously leaking pretty good too. You see all the black on both sides of that and on here. So gonna get this one cleaned up, studs replaced, clean off the head, timing, everything. So this one's got a lot of grit and grime on it. Here's that red scratch brake pad, brake clean. Final layer, I'll use this mass airflow sensor. It doesn't leave anything behind. But this is what I'm using for polishing up. It's I don't know what you call it. Kind of a Ziz wheel type of deal. But that on a high-speed drill, light pressure, move fast. All right, we'll get this one cleaned up. We've got the other camera going up there. And got that on time lapse.
Here, show it up.
What are you gonna do, Mr. Baugh?
Well, we're gonna clean up the surface, get all this garbage off here, all the way around, and get this all cleaned up too. Mr. Beazle, he's working on the heads there, cleaning those up.
On the second one now, got some purple power, doing the sides with that, brake clean before I start working on surfaces.
So when he gets that cleaned up, I get this cleaned up, then we can put the gasket on there and start reassembly.
All right, we've got this, Andy's got this all cleaned up. We took this PCV valve off of here for the exhaust, for the crankcase gases. The gasket was in really bad shape. The bolts weren't tight, so we used some ultra black, made a new gasket there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this put on before we work on getting the heads back on. Alright, so we've got our heads cleaned up. I just set that gasket on there right now. You want to make sure you don't get a bunch of grease all over these. There's that one. Got the bolts. I soaked them in some oil so they're nice and ready to go. Over here we've got the heads all cleaned up, all nice, ready to go. Nice and shiny. So we're going to put you up over here and we'll put them in live. Let me go ahead and wipe these cylinder walls with a little bit of oil just so they're not dry on startup. Just a thin layer since we had all sorts of stuff going on in there. Okay, I've got the head over here cleaned off, so that's ready to go on.
It came out pretty easy with it attached. So I think it'd be good to attach this one anyways.
Alright, hang on. We're gonna put the exhaust manifold on the back one before we put it in. Alright, so we've got our gasket. We've done copper spray on the gasket just to kind of give it an extra protection. We already test fitted this so you can see the marks, but we're gonna put that on there. Slip our manifold on, get a couple nuts started on there. Just gonna give these a little bit of zip down so it holds it in place. Now new exhaust manifold nuts are kind of oblong, they're almost like a lock nut, so they'll go on kind of hard. Get these out of the way. Now since these are old, we're just going to kind of zip them down, kind of go in a circular pattern. We're going to start with the inside, we're going to get them flush first, and then we'll go around and tighten them down with a ratchet. But for now we're just going to kind of get these to zip down, not too tight yet. Okay, those are tight, so now we're gonna use a ratchet and gain our torque. There is a torque setting, but have Andy hold that down so it doesn't fall off the table here. We're gonna give it a little click action. Click, click. Click. Click.
That's good.
Alright, so we put this one on because we know it can slip down behind pretty easily. I think the front one, since we kind of got it threaded in there, that we'll probably put that one on after the head's in.
Andy down here.
Head coming in. Tip down, so
Yeah, it's got to down more. There you go.
I don't know if you can push that wire harness back towards the firewall at all.
Yeah.
Can you reach that thing?
This one?
That plastic? Big plastic wiring harness.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. It's caught on that thing.
Okay. Oh, I see.
There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I see.
There we go. Okay, we're gonna set her down here. And up our go this way.
It seems like it's gotta go towards your left somehow. A little bit.
Towards you or towards?
Toward me, yeah. Maybe something like that. Or,
Oh.
let's see where this is. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in on one of them here. There we are. Okay.
Okay.
Let her down.
Yeah, I guess it's fucking really tight down here, but that might work.
Well, that's where it goes, so.
Okay, well, that's where that's going. I'll hold it while you start getting some of those bolts in.
Yep, those are all there, so. Okay. Got our oil bolts. So we're going to drop those in, just kind of get them started by hand here. Okay, you can.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Alrighty then.
This guy's dropped in.
So reverse order, we'll connect this wire, the sensor, and get that connected back up over there.
So we're gonna work on getting this put in here first and torqued and everything.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure how that wire goes around that thing. Try to fix that thing up too.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to? Wait, so pull in these little edges?
No,
Do that after.
that was the one the timing,
Almost covered?
when the timing cover was on.
Okay.
get these run down, and I'll be right back for torquing. Alright, so we've got our bolts run down. Now the process is kind of funny for this, so it is torque them to 30 foot-pounds, then back them off one full turn, and then torque them back to 30 again, and then you go 90 degrees, and then another 90 degrees. So this is going to be quite the process. I think we'll probably put you on to time lapse here for doing this. Andy's working on cleaning up the timing chain cover, or the timing cover over there. I've got this gasket set on. I'm going to do just a test fit, make sure that I can still get the exhaust manifold on, and instead of putting it on ahead of time, because this one's going to be easier to put it on after the fact, because it's kind of got to feed down through here, and I don't want to mess things up here while I'm trying to do that. So. Alright, so I've got the front one just kind of temporarily on here. I've got some bolts just snugged up a little bit. And we're gonna come down here. You can see the exhaust bolts there. So I'm gonna try to get that exhaust manifold mounted up on there now before we get everything torqued down up top. I just want to make sure it all fits. Okay, so it's in there, but you can't quite get to all the bolts. So we've got the AC compressor yet on here, which is really dirty. So I'm gonna pop the bolts out of that and kind of flip it down. It is on some flexible lines, so it should be okay. And we'll flip that down, clean it, and get the exhaust manifold bolts tight from down here. Alright, well that worked out. We've got that out of the way. As you can see, it's kind of a disaster up in there, so try to spray that off and clean off this compressor a little bit, but won't get too crazy with it. But now I can easily access those exhaust manifold nuts up there. So we'll leave the head on where it is and get things tightened down here, and then work on head torque on the front head. Alright, now that I've got that exhaust manifold on and torqued down, I'm going to continue with the head bolts on the left bank, the front side here. And Andy's over here working on the timing chain cover, getting gaskets on. We've got a new seal in there. You'll be able to see that hammered on in with the other camera, I believe.
Cleaned up.
All cleaned up and ready to go.
Seals, new gaskets.
Yep, ready to go back in, nice and clean. Didn't bother. No point in getting off all the black on the inside. It's not gunk. It's just stained black. So, all right, we'll put you back on time lapse for this, because it takes a little while with that goofy torque sequence. Alright, we've got our head bolts all torqued down. Both of these are torqued down and in place, and they are where they are. So hopefully everything's good. Those are some tight torque specs with the double 90 on there. Kind of makes a guy nervous, but they're on there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use some brake clean and just kind of flush this out and use our vacuum machine to suck out some fluid and just get these cleaned up before we start working on the cams. Alright, we've got that sprayed out and used our vacuum device to suck out any of the brake clean left over in the spot so it doesn't kill us with a whole bunch of brake clean in the oil. Of course, we'll be dumping the pan again. We'll actually be doing the pan as well. So that'll all come off and it'll all be out of there. I'm going to go ahead and put the lifters back in.
lash adjusters, lifters, whatever you want to call them. And we'll get those popped back in, and then we'll lube these up with some oil and get our cams placed back in. Yeah, we did the back one on time lapse, throwing that in. I kind of did it on time lapse. We put all of our roller followers in there. So now we're gonna come in with these cams. You want to be a little careful. You want to make sure that all your lobes, none of them are pointing down. So these kind of aim to the sides, and this one goes up. It looks like on this one, so we'll put that in. We'll kind of give that a wiggle to make sure it's in a neutral position, so the valves are all still closed. And Andy's going to hand me the first cap, which will locate where this sits. Left cap.
Just like that.
I'm just going to run my finger on this. There's a little bit of oil.
There are labels on all these.
Yeah, we went through that on disassembly.
Okay.
But yeah, there's labels on all of them, so we'll be double checking those just to make sure. But so we're getting this lined up is what I'm doing, making sure that the groove is into the cap as well. Give it a little wiggle, and then I'm going to pull the bolts and just give it some careful taps with a small dead blow, just to make sure that it's going in right. And feeling my gaps, just light hits just to get it in there. So those are in there. We're just going to throw our screws in, get it threaded. And on to our next cap. Wipe that out too. Wiggle them on to make sure that they're lined up. Give it some careful taps so that those line up pins go right down in the holes. Be careful not to drop anything down your spark plug holes. We were going to put paper towels in there, but we didn't.
We still can.
We still can. That's all right. We'll get this one down there.
So we got 7R here. One on there.
That next cap.
Right, it's probably too late for these anyways. Let's get this one started. Pull it off the right way.
Yep. So we're just gonna get those started. And then I'm gonna grab my little baby ratchet. And we're not gonna tighten these. We're just gonna get them finger tight essentially. I'm just using this to speed things up.
Okay, go, here we go. I don't know, I thought this was a good fucking design. Really?
So we can get it. Okay, so we're just snug on all these. We'll come back and we'll torque them up later. There's a pattern of these two, essentially start in the middle, work your way around with that. So it doesn't take much torque, you want to go on the right. And we know this is in the right spot, this cam. You can see it's up. This one's kind of pointing that way, and this one's pointing that way. So this is in a neutral position. There's no spring pressure against it. It can kind of spin freely. It's a little tight just because it's been installed there. It's got fresh oil in there, so it's a little tight fit, but we'll get these torqued down next and then install these. Okay, so we're just snug on all these. And we'll come back and we'll torque them up later. So there's a pattern to these two. Essentially start in the middle, work your way around like that. So, and it doesn't take much torque, and you want to go on the right. You know, we know this isn't the right spot. This cam, you can see, is up. This one's kind of pointing that way, and this one's pointing that way. So this is in a neutral position. There's no spring pressure against it. It can kind of spin freely. It's a little tight just because it's just been installed there, and it's got fresh oil in there, so it's a little tight fit. But we'll get these torqued down next, and then install these. Oh, I guess I'm live. So brought you over to Andy here. We've got the this front cam, the most further front cam. This is what drives the pump, the water pump, and it's got this on here. I'm not really sure how this pulley comes off of here, so that seal's just going to have to stay. And but we've got a little gasket that needs to go in there, so he's going to get this cleaned up, and then we'll be ready to put this cam in. Alright, we've got all of our cams back on. Before we get this last rail mounted on the side that Andy cleaned the gasket off and put a new gasket on, we're going to get our cam caps torqued down. And it's like torque that I looked up is 96 inch-pounds, and you just work yourself out in a circle. Start in the center and work yourself out in a circular pattern. So we'll do that very carefully, and we'll be back. All right, got Andy down here. He's volunteered himself to clean up this AC compressor block.
It doesn't look very good, but I volunteered to do this clean up.
It's ugly, but we'll get it done.
And then we'll get back reattached up there after I get done cleaning all this out.
Fun stuff. I'm going to get this on here and do some looking up on the computer for the torque sequence, for the timing chain cover, and getting ready to do the timing. So we'll be back. All right, Andy got that all cleaned up. clean as it's gonna get for us anyway. That works for me. So next we're gonna move on to getting timing chains on here.
It looks beautiful, by the way.
We've got our new sprocket on the bottom. We've got our cams are in the right positions. On the left-hand bank here, we've got 9 and 12 for the timing marks. On the back, we've got 12 and 3. So that's essentially where we want them. We'll have to kind of wiggle them in there just a little bit to get the chains on. So we're going to go ahead and start working on this, on getting the timing chains back on. Just kind of take a look at something. I got a cloy set for the timing chain, and it came with a plastic tensioner guide rail on for the left side of the chain on the front bank anyway. This is the original, or at least and Motorcraft part, and it's still in great shape. I like the metal a lot more. We're going to stay with the metal one. I'm not going to put this plastic in here. I just don't. I'd rather have a metal one in here that I know is not going to break, at least the backbone of it. Where this one, you know, it possibly could break. I'm sure it'd be just fine, but we're going to use this one because it makes more sense. I just had it upside down, so we're going to go ahead and... That was pretty well set. We're going to go ahead and get this guide on. Run our bolts in. These torque to 18 foot-pounds. I'm going to get them snug here. I'm gonna have to come up there to torque these. So 18. Click. This torque wrench has the right amount of torque, it just doesn't make very loud clicks. Check the other one again here. And that goes for all the guides. All the guides, they're all 18 foot-pounds, as well as the cover bolts. So we've got this set and we'll be using it a lot. Okay, now we're gonna take a chain. Well, anyway, we're looking for another flashlight laying around here somewhere. We've got painted marks on new chains. If you use your old chains, Ford has you actually paint some marks once you take them apart. So all we got to do is there's one that's further separated than the two. So we're going to take these two and we're going to place these right on here with paint mark right on the chain. We'll see how close we come to the other one. So we're very close here. See if I can get it on there. Might have to give them just a little bit of a turn to get that chain line lined up over here. So now we've got this yellow on this one. We've got this yellow on this one. Now I'm going to take it down below and line that up on the lower sprocket. So if we take a look at our lower sprocket there, we've got the timing chain mark here, and we want to line up the yellow. This one goes on the back. So we're fairly close. We're going to have to give it just a little bit of a turn. Since the engine is in free spool, I can go backwards a little bit because it's not connected to anything yet up top. We're just going to give it just a nudge. Just a nudge. Oh, I guess I got the socket. The nut is not tight, so we'll get her on here. I can't see if it's... Let's do it. Let's see if I can get that.
You're one tooth off.
Yeah, it's in between teeth. Just needs to go a little.
I'm going to turn the top cam.
Yeah, try to give the top. Well, let me see if I can turn this by hand, maybe. Yeah, there we go. All right. Just give her a little twist by hand.
He's a brute.
See, we got that to line up now.
He's a brute right there.
So now we got to get it on the back.
Yep.
On the back. Spruck eyes. Come on. Come on there. Give that just a little bit, just to tighten that chain up. All right, so take a look right here again. Now you can see we've got the timing mark and the paint there, and we've got the paint lined up with the top, which we already saw. All right, go ahead and hand me down the inner chain guide. This, I guess we've got to get the chain around this pin.
You got your bolts.
There's
You
no
don't need
bolts
bolts
that go on this one.
You got your ratchet and socket for this.
Yep. This can be a little tricky to get on there.
Bolt in there. Okay.
Can you get the chain around it or no? I think I need to slide it up from the bottom. Man, I can't get it over that thing.
Just like that. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Just a little bit of a tricky puzzle.
So now we're gonna put the grenade down. We call it the grenade because it's got a pin. It's gonna cause or put all the tension on the chain.
So no gasket goes on these. It's just a machined surface. This goes right in there. Get these bolts started. Like usual. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just torque these down to our 18. Click. Click, click, click. Click. Okay. So now, once we've got those on there, we can go ahead and yank this grenade pin out of here, which is going to put tension on the guide. So I'm just going to grab a pliers here so I can yank it. There we go. Now our chain is tight. Good to go. On to the next one. Now we're back. We're going to put the other
Next.
inside guide in. That goes up here.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get it, I think.
Hmm? Hmm?
Yeah, it's just a little gritty.
Yeah.
There we go. Go ahead and turn that in there. If you can.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You might want to come up top, then torque this. It's almost in. Lock ring in left.
It's alright. There we go.
Click, click. Click, click.
Okay, now we've got that in. We can grab the chain.
Chain in hand.
Oops.
I think we'll go this way with it. We got the two yellow links on the top and the one on the bottom here. So that's the way we're going to install that.
Get some light on the subject here a little better. Okay, make sure they're dead center. This one's off. So we're gonna have to stick that on there once. See if we can see it. There, I think I see it. Yep, it's off. So this one is on. So I've got to get that. Grab it. Got to get that one turned just a little bit. It's okay, I can hardly see it either. Alright, there we are. We're dead on that one. Yep, there we go. And we're on that one dead center too.
Don't seem right if it moves.
It'll tighten up. They're just sitting there, so there you go.
Oh. There he goes.
Alright, so they're in the right spots. We can actually pull on this chain and take out that slack on the top that Andy was just kind of talking about.
Yep.
Then we're going to get this one lined up here. And we need to get our timing mark to line up on the bottom.
Should I come down there?
No,
You're good?
which it doesn't even come close. Way off. That's interesting. Okay, we're going to have to go to the video. Huh.
We're going to take a break here for a second. We'll come right back.
All right, so you can tell our timing chain for the left bank is it's the left bank because it's the front of the car is on the money. It's right on the
Right there.
So this one, it's not sitting where it needs to get to, and that's because if you remember when we were taking things off, we did 1 2/3 turn before we took off the second side. So we essentially need to go 1/3 of the way around to get it back around to where it needs to go. So I'm just gonna take my wrench here and we're gonna carefully move this, carefully advance this. If you feel anything hitting or a lot of resistance, you definitely want to stop. We're gonna go a little ways and check it. I'm getting closer, but we need to be over here, it looks like, in like the 8 o'clock-ish position. It's rotating smoothly. No major resistance. Pretty close. I'm actually just gonna line that up where it needs to go with the chain a little slack, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up to where it needs to be so that chain's not going anywhere. All right, so we've got it to where they both line up. Then we just need to throw our rear guide on with our tensioner over here. So we'll get to that next here. Okay, so we've got our chain where it needs to go. Now we're going to get this other guide up into here somehow. Kind of wiggled in there. There we go. Make sure that our timing chain mark is dead center where it needs to be on the bottom, which it still is. We're going to put the tensioner. I'm going to get that in there.
Your grenade bomb.
I'm going to go ahead and get these torqued. Click. Okay. I'm going to make sure that this is lined up so it doesn't get off when we release the pressure. Also going to keep my finger out of there. Alright, now we're going to pull this. With that pliers that you got up there, Andy, can you hand that to me? Or you can pull the pin. You can reach it. There's one up on. Okay. Here we are. Alright, our timing chain marks are lined up with our colored links. These are torqued, 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 torqued. Everything's torqued. Our chains are back on. So now, since everything's lined up properly, we can go ahead and carefully spin our engine around. If you feel any major resistance, stop, because you don't have it timed right and you're hitting a valve. Now you want to turn this around at least 2 full turns and not backwards. Now you don't, it'll seem like your chains are a little loose, and it is because there's not oil pressure tightening your chains at this time. Because the engine is not providing any oil pressure, and since those are pressurized by oil, they may kind of pop in and out a little bit while you're running these around. So just kind of be gentle and go slow. And we are all the way back around where our timing chains, our timing marks are lined up at the bottom. So we've gone more than 2 times around with the crank. That means the engine's gone through more of 2 revolutions. The cams have gone through more than 2 revolutions now because we've done at least 4 turns down here. All right, now that we've got our timing chains on, we've spun the engine around. We have no valve issues. It's solid, so that's a good sign. We're just going to go around and do a little bit of cleanup just to make sure these surfaces are ready to put the timing cover back on. And we'll take some RTV, some ultra black or ultra gray, and we'll put a little dab across each of these seams so it does not leak out of those seams. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those seams where the heads meet up. I don't think there's any down lower. Oh, there is. We've also got to put a little dab where the upper oil pan meets the block. So we've got 6 little spots that we need to put RTV on. So we'll get a quick wipe down on this, and we'll put you into time lapse. And Andy's over there cleaning up some bolts for the cover to go back on. Got the cover here. We've got the new seal that we pounded in there, so I'm just going to take a little dielectric grease. I'm just going to go around this seal so it slides on nice. There we go. We'll make sure, you want to make sure when you're putting this on that this does not fold over. Okay, don't forget that your reluctor wheel has got to go on here. And you can line up the keyway with the slot, and the other slot will line up on the timing mark. If you have it flipped, those are not, well, I guess they will line up, but it doesn't go that way. It goes this way. Teeth out, words out. There we go, words out. Just like so, but you can't go that way. It's got to be the other way, because this is how the engine knows what position it's in. We're live. Let's drop that down in there. Start threading bolts. Don't slide it.
No.
I can get grab the bottom of it. Yeah, I've got the bottom of it.
Let's get past a couple things up here.
Just close the back.
Yep, just like that. Yep, just about like that. Looks like it's matching up here.
Okay, go ahead and push it on.
Yep, there, it's on.
Doesn't seem like it's. Oh, it's got line up pegs, so it just needs a little love. Just hold on to it once.
Yep.
Little hammer and dead blow. A couple little taps here.
Oh, it's just the gasket. The gasket's keeping it separated.
There's alignment pins. It's not just the gasket. There's
Oh, okay.
2 alignment pins on either side here too. I think it's good. Alright, you want to start handing me bolts? So this is the bottom one.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, should be that. Yep, that back there.
Get that one on there. Those are finger tight. So I'm just going to go around and give them just a little bit of tension. I'm not going to torque them down yet. We've got to let that silicone set up for a while. So I'm going to put you on a time lapse and I'm going to tighten those up. Alright, well that was a heck of a day. I tell you what, we get a lot done. We get a lot installed. Got the heads on, got the timing cover on. And tomorrow we'll be starting to work on peripherals. Getting the water stuff back on. And getting everything ready to essentially to get the intake and the valve covers back on. Tomorrow we should have this buttoned up in here. And we'll see if we can get to the oil pan tomorrow as well. We'll just have to see how it goes, huh, Mr. Baugh?
Yes, sir.
All right. You guys have a good night.